I'm almost 50 years old. I'm 49 years old, and it's the first time in my life that I've ever been fired from a job.
Originating from deep inside the Rocky Mountains, transported through the power of the internet, and arriving inside your tiny earbuds. It's the Appraiser Coach podcast.
Minisode.
Welcome back, everyone. Dustin Harris hanging out on the podcast treadmill once again. Want to let you know of some changes in my life, but first want to encourage you to make some changes in your life and start using Synapse. Synapse will help you to support your adjustments, folks. It's well worth whatever investment you put into it on what it gives you back. Check them out by going to spark4appraisers.com. Again, spark4appraisers.com. Well, folks, yes, the rumors are true in December. And by the way, just so you don't think I've been hiding under a rock with this news, these podcasts are recorded a couple of months in advance. So this is actually being recorded within weeks of this occurring. So definitely been out there, and certainly, in fact, the day it happened, I got in front of the camera with my all-star team on the private Facebook group and did a Facebook Live and took questions and explained and what have you. Okay, so sorry, getting ahead of myself. Yes, I was let go from True Footage in December of 2023. And some people were surprised by that and wanted to know why. I mean, folks, it wasn't a surprise to me. It really was not. And here's why. We are in the worst economy for appraisers that we've been in 30 plus years. The interest rates and what they have done and what that has trickled down to various appraisers. If you are in the lending world, if you've set up your business model to work within the lending world, you have most likely, not everyone, but most likely struggled. Unless you've diversified, unless you have been out there putting your name in front of individuals, potential clients on a regular basis, you've probably had a pretty challenging and difficult year in 2023. It was no different for the biggest appraiser company out there, True Footage. And there's no conspiracy here. There's no, difficult things to wade through and what are they hiding and what's really going on. Folks, it's as simple as this. Mortgage rates were up in 2023. Appraisal volume was down. True Footage built its platform on lending work. Okay. And as a consequence, they have less coming in than they wanted. And they laid some people off, and they laid me off. I was not a very active appraiser in 2023. I did a couple a month, couple appraisals here, couple appraisals there. I was not a high producer for them. They kept their high producers, and they let a number of people go for obvious reasons. Okay, many appraisers out there are experiencing the same thing that True Footage experienced. And folks, guess what? I was in education. Okay, education is always the first thing to go when a big company cuts back. I knew that. I loved where I was. I loved what I was doing. But it was not a surprise when they laid some people off at True Footage that I was let go as well. How do I feel about that and what's next? I'll share that right after this. I first want to pause and remind you that we're sponsored by a great company called Synapse. And yes, Synapse is owned by True Footage. And yes, there's still a sponsor here. So maybe that gives you some shadowing of what I'm about to talk about here in just a few minutes about my continued relationship with True Footage. But Synapse, folks, if you are looking for a way, an easy way, and it really is easy, right? That doesn't mean that it's not powerful. In fact, quite the opposite. It is an easy way to support your adjustments with powerful data. How is that not worth almost any investment, especially in today's day and age when you need to be supporting your adjustments? Check it out by going to their website. Now, their website's a little confusing because we're talking about Synapse, but their website is spark4appraisers.com, spark4appraisers.com, and then you can click on the Synapse button. All right, folks, welcome back to the program. Dustin Harris hanging out with you. I'm almost 50 years old. I'm 49 years old, and it's the first time in my life that I've ever been fired from a job. I'm not joking. Now, to be fair, I have now worked for a lot of other people. I've spent most of my life as a self-employed individual. In fact, I was counting up the other day, just for fun. My wife and I were counting up, and I think I've officially worked for the man 7 times in my life. Officially been a W-2 employee with an employer a total of 7 times in my life. And honestly, most of them were before I was 25. I mean, we're talking McDonald's and Chevron and, just various other places that I've worked. Never been fired from a job. It took me almost 50 years to finally have that experience. And what are my feelings now? Well, first of all, I mentioned before the break, and I'll emphasize it here again, right? I was not an active appraiser with True Footage. I was in their education department. They are cutting expenses, and guess what? Sometimes, unfortunately, education is seen as an expense. Now, do I feel differently about education? Absolutely. My personal opinion is education should be one of the last things that people get rid of, because that's the thing that's going to push you to the next level. That's the thing that's going to make you successful long term. Okay. A lot of my all-star team and dream team members understand that. They've held tight in the group through the lean times because they understand that the value that is given in that realm has been enormous. Okay. But that being said, I didn't make that decision. Right. And I certainly was not surprised and understand why True Footage felt like education needed to be cut if they were going to be cutting other appraisers and other management and other things. Okay. And again, it boils down maybe to more complicated. Maybe I'm making it less complicated than it was. I don't know. But the bottom line is the market sucks, right? And True Footage, like many other appraisal companies, had to tighten the belt. And I was one of the casualties of that. Okay. I've been asked the question, are you bitter? Do you regret your experience with True Footage? Absolutely not. And not just no, but hell no. I absolutely loved my experience with True Footage. I had an amazing ride and an amazing education for the last 2 years with a great company. I was not at the leadership table. That was by choice. And yet I still was able to experience what a big appraisal company is like. I was able to see some amazing things that they were able to do with investor money and growth. And I wish them all the best moving forward. Do I regret my decision to sell my appraisal business? Absolutely not. Not even a little bit. I was able to grow a successful appraisal business that was valuable to a company out there who paid me what I felt it was worth, maybe a little more, and felt like it was a win-win situation. I had 2 years with this company that I felt was an educational and great experience. I was able to get to know and associate with appraisers all over the country that in a way that I could not have done without being part of that company. I was able to keep and grow my coaching business alongside. The coaching business has never rubbed against True Footage, meaning it's been a complete separate entity from the beginning. It continues to be a complete separate entity. And I continue to be able to educate and share the knowledge of how to be a better business owner with appraisers across the country. And that's a great blessing to us, to me. What's next for Dustin Harris? Well, the answer to that is I don't know for sure, but I will tell you this, 2 things. I will always be in appraisal. So in one way or another, I'm going to have my foot firmly planted in active the technical side of appraisal. I will be doing appraisal work on some level. I just don't think I can be an effective coach if I'm not in some level involved in the day-to-day of being an appraiser, of experiencing what everybody else is experiencing that's in my group. So that's number one. I'm going to be an active appraiser. I don't know what exactly that looks like right now, but we'll see. Okay. Number 2, Number two is multiple streams of income, folks. This is such an important principle for everyone, but especially somebody who is unemployed or unemployed. That was a Freudian slip. For those of us who are self-employed. Okay. So our self-employment, my father-in-law was famous for saying, hey, when you're self-employed, you wake up every day unemployed. Right? I've shared that with you before. And I love that quote because it's a motivator to me. Every day I've got to go and grow my business. Okay. So the principle of multiple streams of income, I think, is really, really important here. Okay. I have constantly built up. I talked about the Appraiser Coach side. I've got the short-term rental business. I've got another project that I'm working on that's completely unrelated to valuation, even almost completely unrelated to real estate. That's a fun project that it's a field. I'll talk more about it as I get closer to launch date. But I'm working on another business idea that I've been working on for over a year that I'm super excited about. But the point is this: multiple streams of income, folks. If you can take any lesson away from Dustin Harris being fired, okay, I'll take one for the team for you. Okay, I'll sacrifice myself on the altar of a great education here is to make sure that you're constantly involved in other things so that if one of them disappears, you still have the ability to pay your bills. Thank you for joining me, everyone. Thank you for being there. Thank you for being a part of the All-Star team. If you want to learn more about how to be a successful business owner, check us out. Go to my new website, theappraisercoach.com. It's the same address, but brand new design, theappraisercoach.com. Check it out. Go create some value.
You've been listening to the Appraiser Coach podcast with Dustin Harris. If you like what you hear, please give us a 5-star rating and post a short review on iTunes. For more in-depth insider information on how you can make more money as a real estate appraiser, visit theappraisercoach.com and sign up for the All-Star team today. Thanks for joining us. And now, get out there and create some value.